And so we are back yet again for
Yet
another
again.
episode of Clear Skies Perseverance. Hello, everyone. I am your game master, Aliza Pearl, and we have our wonderful, amazing cast here tonight. Before we jump into our story, I have some announcements. So, first of all, this episode is sponsored by Modifius Entertainment. And I wanted to tell you about the Shackleton Expanse Guide. Eric and I have been salivating over this because it is this beautiful entire campaign guide with uh, just like a whole campaign laid out for you to run. So if you are a game master, you can't. I know you can't see it because my digital screen. Actually, you know what? It's worth. No, no. I don't want you to see my background today. My actual background. But it's an amazing campaign guide that just takes you from A to B. If you are a game master who doesn't want to write your own campaign, this is the book to pick up because um, STA has so many wonderful like one shot like campaign location things, but this is everything all in one. So definitely pick that book up if you're hoping to or thinking about introducing a long-term campaign, whether it's your existing table or a new table that you want to start. Um, so we have some links, and if you a couple of things about these links, we're gonna put them in the chat. If you order from the U.S. store, first of all, click through our links because those are our affiliate links, and that lets Modifius know that we sent you. So help us out with that. Use our links if you're going to purchase anything from Modifius. And second of all, we have the UK store link and the US store link. A note about the US store right now, they are moving their warehouse in the US. So they're saying to expect 2 to 4 week delays in shipping, but for your patience, you're going to get 20% off most physical products from the US store. So, like, that's a really good deal. Like, I would say go ahead and order things knowing that it might take a month to get to you because of their warehouse moving around, but it will be worth it because that's a nice discount to get on them. So that's the news from Modifius. I want to give a couple of nonprofit shout outs. Yuri's Night. Yuri's Night is this wonderful yearly global space celebration commemorating Yuri Gagarin becoming the first human to venture into space on April 12th, 1961. Now, Yuri's Night is this every year. It's April 12th is the commemorated day, but there is a nonprofit organization that I am lovely friends with the people who run it here in LA. They coordinate global events to commemorate Yuri's Night every year for the past, I think they're going on 20 years now, if they haven't already reached that mark. I am happy to be helping them out with the event again this year. I've kind of taken some years off and some years on and helping out. This year I'm back on. And in LA, it's going to be April 8th at the California Science Center under the Space Shuttle Endeavour. And on the Space Coast, it's going to be April 15th at Kennedy Space Center under the Space Shuttle Atlantis. So if you're in those areas, you can get tickets right now at yurisnight.net. If you're not in those areas, that's okay, friends, because yurisnight.net/events will show you where all these other global events will be happening. So there could be one closer to you, or there could be a digital event that you can pop into. So definitely go to yurisnight.net and check them out. And of course, Explore Mars. I don't have any new news. It's the same news. I'll just give you a quick recap because you've now heard it 4 times. But we have a special code for discounted registration for their Humans to Mars Summit taking place May 16th through 18th in Washington, D.C. at the National Academy of Sciences, featuring amazing panel sessions with executives from NASA, private space companies, academia, and in the arts. So our discount code is Clear Skies Mars. That lets them know we sent you. So go forth, register, and represent Clear Skies Perseverance. And I actually didn't mention it past the first episode, so I'll say this again. They're doing something called the Mars Innovation Challenge, and this is for kids from kindergarten to senior year of high school. Kids can enter their idea to solve a real world problem faced by future explorers to Mars. Very fitting for this show. So they can win $2,400 and a spot at Humans to Mars Summit to meet the engineers and space industry execs who make these innovations a reality. So check out exploremars.org/Mars-innovation-challenge. I'm sorry, I didn't give the mods that link. So I will drop it in our Discord. If it gets to them, great. If not, no worries. No worries. But go to Explore Mars and that will show you all the things they're doing. And another announcement before I pass it over to my crew. Was that the last announcement? Oh, well, of course, my last announcement is always that the Aux crew, we love you. Thank you for your generous support. You make this show happen. You make the Streampunks happen. So thank you. If you are not yet a member of the Aux crew, go visit us at Ko-fi, so ko-fi.com/streampunks. Join us, become a part of the crew. Now, are there any cast announcements? And actually, I'm going to throw it to Sam first for a special Discord announcement.
Yeah, I go first. You expect things to be out of order, but chaos has befallen, and it is a beautiful, beautiful flavor of chaos. Many of you might be familiar with our Discord games starting last year for Ko-fi subscribers, companion tier and higher. On the Streampunks Discord, we have done these little games for very small casts doing weird stuff. Eric and I went head-to-head in a 1-versus-1 player GM game called Tairo on Wolf. Stay tuned for that. We might hear from that again someday. But thereafter, after coming to quite a season conclusion, we continued on a little story from the Streampunks fundraiser. Well, I recruited additional backup in the form of Kaitlin, and Kaitlin and I played a lovely chapter of Jedi Shadows, aka I have this little Force-sensitive kid and I don't know what to do with it. But now it is time for effectively the third season of We Play Little Artisanal Games in the Streampunks Discord, and I'm so hype, I'm so hype. Noir is GMing for a Trek game for me, and our Streampunk Anita is gonna be so good, and it is tomorrow, the last Tuesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. in our Discord. Again, Ko-fi subscribers, companion tier or higher, you can go to ko-fi.com/streampunks to find out more about that. No, I have to put it away. I have to put it away till later.
Save that last part. All right. Any other announcements? Bonnie.
Next weekend, if you're in the Minneapolis area, you should go to MarsCon. I am the musical guest of honor. I'll also be doing a Star Trek panel and whatever other panel they throw me on throughout the weekend. But my solo concert is at 4:45 on Saturday, and I'll be doing some Bards songs as well as stuff for my solo album, and it's gonna be amazing.
You just reminded me, Bonnie. I actually have a con announcement.
What?
So if y'all don't know, Jodie Hauser is going to be at Emerald City Comic Con promoting many of the comics that she is writing, but one of them is also going to be the one that she's promoting is Dawn Attack, which is the comic that I've been writing with her for Opus Comics. We are basically telling the story of a Frank Frazetta painting called Dawn Attack, where they handed us one of Frazetta's paintings and said, "Here's a painting Frazetta did. What's the story?" And Jodie and I wrote the story, and so definitely check it out. She's going to be there, so if you're in the Seattle area, definitely stop by and say hi.
Awesome. Any other announcements? Kaitlin, Noir?
I'm going to go to MarsCon to see Bonnie sing.
Yes! So if you want to see Noir, you should come to MarsCon. And me. And
I live here, so I'll probably
Caitlin.
come over too.
Okay, so Clear
We'll
Skies
have a little
reunion in
Tiny little
Minneapolis.
Tiny little meetup.
I'll wear my
You
uniform.
should all come to the Star Trek panel, obviously, and then we can do a Streampunks photo op after the panel.
Amazing.
In a hallway that's random.
You can come see my
TBD.
gigantic Bane respirator mask and live in person. It's purple and pink. It's great. Blue and purple.
Awesome. All right. I think. Wait, Kaitlin, did you say your announcement? Do you have an announcement?
Podcast I produce and edit Thin Places Radio. We have a new episode that just came out on Friday. There theoretically will be another one this week. It's a tiny little bite-sized, 10 minutes or less paranormal radio show with a number you can actually call and leave a voicemail and ask a question or tell a story to the host. And she will, if she likes it, she'll tell you something weird in response. So check it out. We're on all major podcast platforms and also on Twitter and other social media at Thin Places Radio.
And they'll be at MarsCon.
right.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah, and I'll probably be at MarsCon.
Yes. All right. Well, I think we have just no more announcements at all. Sam, do you want to say something?
I'm excited!
Well, with that, let us begin episode 4 of Clear Skies Perseverance. Mike, let's build. In building one ship and salvaging another, the crew of Utopia Planitia has uncovered a bit of a mystery. A strange, ultra-thin structure that lines the entirety of the space between the interior and exterior hull plating of a ship that's been set for salvage. This strange structure has withstood laser cutting when a section of the ship was removed for salvage, and various attempts at communication with it have failed. Although Veevee, our director of cabin design, the Denobulin, who happens to have ESP, got a mental ping from the structure when trying to reach out to it. Not an intelligent response, just a almost innate response of stretching, protecting, doing its duty.
And just to be clear, she hasn't told anybody that she's felt this, correct?
Yes, the audience knows this,
Right.
but I don't think she has shared this with the rest of the crew yet.
Okay.
Ensign
We'll
Qila,
just keep trying other things.
well, speaking of, Ensign Qila recently scrubbed the computer banks of the USS Bovell to find out what happened. When did this thing appear? And in that recent history, found out that some strange space dust was vacuumed up, but never scanned, or nothing was thought of it. It just seemed like it was just collecting in the corners of some hallways after an away mission.
Oh, space.
And that seems to be an origin point for this strange structure. Back in command, Veluth has decided to requisition whatever is remaining of the Bovell, the Ross-class ship that they're salvaging, to save for Dr. Rylem Rion to experiment, to do with it what he wants, to do his own version of a Ross-class ship. And Veluth is curious about Rion's warp ideas and also has some ideas of his own. So we have a bit of a side project kind of budding here. But that's all what happened in the past. Today is another day on Utopia Planitia Shipyard. And in the morning, you all get a space weather alert. It's an alert from Planetary Defense. And the alert says, A moving field of space debris is on its return orbit to this part of the Sol system, so we'll be getting some meteor showers. The protective force field should do a pretty good job of protecting from most of the debris, but some of it might just get through if it's small and fast enough. So all hands be on alert for space debris. Otherwise, it's a pretty typical morning on Utopia Planitia. You all have your regular morning routines. You find yourselves back at your stations, back on shift. But some of you have gathered again in salvage to reconvene and talk about all of the different layers of data you now have coming from different angles. Now, from what I recall, we have the salvage team, including Lieutenant JG Tovaa. I believe Lieutenant Soselle Tairo was also a part of this team as the scientific / biomedical help in this mystery.
Head of Bionono Research.
Head of Bionono Research. And of course, we have our intelligence officer here, Lieutenant. Oh, I'm sorry. I gave you an up. I gave you.
Oh, I've been promoted. How
a promotion.
convenient.
Ensign Qila, who got that scrubbed data from the scrapped Bovel.
Yes.
So you all are here in salvage, and you have received, yes, you've had a night to sleep on it, all of this data, and now just trying to put the pieces together of what this thing might be.
I was thinking about the Verterium Cortinite, because sometimes that's the thing that like creatures and space stuff gets attracted to in the warp cores, but that's also something that we use to line certain parts of the hull of the ships. So like it could be like some sort of anomalous attraction to it. That's kind of the thing. But I mean, outside of it, it's just regular ship hull plating. It's just a regular ship. So, I mean, that's the only thing I could think of if it was specific to the hull. I don't know.
I mean, I'm just here to make sure it's not a threat. So far, so good. Doing my job.
Nailing it.
Yeah.
And
How
I'm
could it have
assuming
gotten
nothing has
in
changed.
here?
Say again?
How could it have gotten in here, Cass? Is there some point of hull that's permeable?
That's the thing. Unless it came in when the ship was opened or when it was built. I mean, the hulls are like sometimes double or triple lined in certain areas, especially, you know, to keep out types of radiation and heat near the nacelles and the impulse engines and things like that. It's meant to keep out space and everything that comes with that. So I can't imagine, unless this thing has a very specific type of state of matter in existence, which I guess wouldn't be too strange to consider. I think it might have just got let in, whether on
What
purpose
about
or
from
an
the
accident.
inside?
From the inside, I mean, Jeffrey's tubes could make probably significantly easier to get itself where it is now from the inside than the outside. I'm gonna check in with the GM to make sure that is information that would be that would make sense.
It
Yes,
does.
speak to your general manager, please.
Okay.
Yeah, with your starship construction knowledge, yeah, it seems like the Jeffries tubes would be the most logical path that would this structure, whatever the pieces of the structure were that built it, that's probably how they got into the hull. We know that they were brought on, and just to reiterate the information that Ensign Qila was able to gather, there was an away team that went down to the surface of an uninhabited world, somewhere deep in I believe the Beta Quadrant, we said. And they brought back some space dust on their boots. It had a little twinkle to it, as if maybe there was some sparkling mineral in there. They noticed it was kind of sticking around different places of the ship. It got vacuumed up, and that's all.
And how long ago was that again? It was...
Good question. I may have to check the video logs for that. But it was within, I believe it was within, definitely, I think within 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it wasn't something that
final
happened
years.
like immediately
Yeah.
right when they brought the ship
Well-
in. It was around for a while.
It was the final years of in service. They spent a couple of years in a pocket of worlds. Bases 105, 35, 117, 123, a couple of worlds.
Bless
Oh
you
my-
for taking those notes.
Omega past 0125 in the
I have
Halley
notes.
system, base 36, the Vault system, Cryo system 117. Amargosa, they hid out by but didn't visit. And can't read what that says. Malkoth?
Melkotia.
Malkotia. Can't read my own handwriting. Yeah. Because they were given instructions not to engage with them.
Where are my notes? Oh dear.
The logs from Halley, which is an L-class world, and several of them mention a strange dust during a shuttle mission. So yeah, and
Excellent notes.
that was like the
I'm
final.
going to award you a momentum for taking those notes so well.
Yay!
Yeah, no. So what from what I remember, that was like the final couple of years. It did a long range. The Bovell did a long range mission, and that was kind of the final couple of years before it ended up here. So it was recent-ish, but not, not like yesterday.
Oh no! I just realized all my notes from the last session. My computer, we lost power due to the storm, and my computer shut down. So all of them were. I was like, "Where are my notes?" But I didn't. They were open.
They're
still.
here. I got them for you. It's okay.
Okay.
Reporting you to
Yeah.
Starfleet
Yes.
Command.
Oh, I'm sorry. So on that note, I would just say, considering that this creature, entity, whatever we want to call it, has been around possibly for a few years on this ship, I mean, we can deduce. Haha. I've been watching Sherlock Holmes. We can deduce that it isn't threatening per se. It doesn't seem like it means it has any malice or ill intent. But we do need to figure out exactly what is it.
I mean, if it started out as some kind of dust or particulate, maybe it's just had time to grow.
That's what I'm saying. It could not have been this big when they vacuumed it up.
Yeah. I mean, vacuuming a thing, I guess it could have gotten into some sort of ducts, I suppose, and just kind of spread throughout the whole ship and made its own network from wherever it's got scattered.
This is why I stick with computers. You can always just know exactly what's happening with those, and this is a little bit out of my territory. You know, creatures and things.
I still think we should put it back. I still think we should make it whole again. But she kind of like looks over her shoulder at some of Rodriguez. Is it Rodriguez? Gina? No, Gina. What's her name?
Oh, yes.
No, what's her
Gina
name?
Roberts.
Roberts. Gina Roberts. It is like, but some people are not fans of that idea.
What, putting it back together?
Yeah.
As in putting this part of the ship back on the other part of the ship so this web thing can reconstitute itself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah. See.
Well, I mean, it was whole before it came here and didn't threaten the last crew or anything, right? I mean, it wouldn't hurt putting the pieces closer together and see if there's a reaction. Almost like an experiment to see if it changes anything in its status of where maybe it's communicating with its other half. Look, this is way out of my this is way out of my normal day-to-day. I'm just trying to be useful.
Ty, you have a thinking face on.
Thank you. Well, it's just... Mass comes from somewhere. You don't turn from a little bit of dust to this without that mass having been derived from something. What induces it to grow? What if I put a bit of the ship back that didn't have a piece of it? Would it grow?
Like
Make like an artificial.
feeding it?
Put a piece of hull, something as close to the original Bovell's conditions as possible. Keep all of our instrumentation on it. Observe it and see what kind of reaction it has. Does it grow
Does it fill the
And
space?
if so, what other things around that piece of hull influence its growth? Its directions of growth, if any, proximity to energy sources, mass. Does it chew off little bits of hull in order to be more of itself?
And what
There's
about
so much more we have to know.
other things other than the hull? What if we try different types of equipment or materials, see if it jumps to that as well? I mean, then we can figure out if maybe it's the whole material itself that's helping it grow, or that it's drawn to.
Yes, an experiment and a control group. Considering the hull as the closest thing that we have to a control, and the extant piece of the intact hull itself as a further type of control, to observe its fluctuations.
Yeah, can we take some of the derelict we got and we haven't smelted most of it down yet? We can just build kind of an artificial corner of a ship. Maybe? Just to bolt some stuff together, see if it tries to fill the space.
And I'm just gonna
Observe it.
move my arm around going, I mean, we are in a salvage yard. I'm pretty sure we have an abundance of materials we can experiment with.
Yeah, Casimir, like, I'm asking for more the go ahead.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
we totally could. Yeah, just like can we do that?
Yeah,
mean-
Kaz, you're two commanding officers standing there listening to this conversation, and they look at each other. So it's Commander Keith and Lieutenant Commander Gina Roberts. And they kind of nod, look back at the three of you. Yeah, we could get behind that. In a controlled environment, the force field stays up, which probably means one of you will have to go in to do this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Kaz, I mean, you're on our team. I wouldn't feel safe putting someone who's not on our team in there.
Yes, I figured. Yeah, I figured I would do that.
oh, this is fascinating. Then we can see if it grows on you. I'll be standing by to watch in case anything is in need of security. And I put my security stance on, even though I'm not much of a physical security officer. Qila will do her best.
Excellent. Yes. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna grab a couple of folks, and we're gonna start pulling hull plates off the derelict. We'll be back in a little while, and she'll kind of like skip off and see if she can grab anyone, and then gonna start breaking stuff apart.
All right. You walk away, and the commanders, Keith and Gina Roberts, follow behind you to help with that task, assembling the team for that, and also finding some parts that you can re-smelt into something that looks like a hull attachment, leaving behind Dr. Tairo and Ensign Qila.
So, this is going to be a longer type of experimental project.
Yes, it seems like you'll probably be down here in salvage a lot more than expected.
I guess so. Is it a large team? Do they often trade people out, or do we tend to work on the same teams a lot?
Whether they switch out teams or not, I have a pretty good feeling Lieutenant Kaz is going to be remaining on any team that gets chosen. She seems pretty close to this.
Why do you mention Cass?
No reason.
Did you have a reason?
No. You seemed curious on what teams will be used, and I'm just observing that no matter what team is picked, I'm pretty sure the lieutenant will be on each one of them, come day or night. She seems pretty, dedicated to this, thingy. We should give it a name of some kind. What about Bob? Something, just anything, just to give it, so I don't have to keep calling it the entity or
We're not
Maybe.
calling it Bob.
Tina? Entity? Teeny? Sentient?
That one-
Sentient? Sparkle? I'll workshop it.
All right. Let me know about the Entitina.
Twinkle tea, because it twinkles. Like an entity. A twinkle tea. Huh? TT for
I
short?
observe things. I don't name them.
I'm not really good at naming things either.
You just came up with 6 of them or something.
Yes, they were not good.
Who's to say that?
Because I thought of Bob.
I'm going to go get my instrumentation, and then I'll be back.
I'm standing there awkwardly like, twinkle tea. Yeah.
And with
I'm
that,
just standing in salvage, not knowing I'm so useful.
with that, we move back on over to the command office of Commander Veluth. Commander Veluth, you are currently at your desk with your assistant, Kamenuk, the Klingon, going over your schedule of the day and some of your to-do list. Yes, I was able to put in that requisition form you asked, and we are getting a response. We should get a response later today about the Bovel. It was meant to be smelt down and whatever was unused to be just reprocessed into something that could be reprintable, replicatable, but we've requested that they not do that.
Very good. I am excited to hear word from Federation. I'm sure that they will release those parts to us. I'm sure the doctor will find a good use for those parts.
Yes. Yes. May I ask, do you plan to work with the doctor, Dr. Rion, on this additional ship project?
Not initially, no. I find that the doctor's impression of the Federation to be one where it might be best if I leave him to his own devices, though I can't say that his observations are inaccurate. Perhaps over time, once the doctor feels comfortable with this project and feels certain that the project is in fact his own, that I might be invited to offer my ideas. But until then, this will be his and his alone.
Kumanuk gestures towards a bookshelf in your office and then stands up and kind of like runs his fingers along a couple of books. I just was wondering because since you've been here, I've noticed that these books that you have, you're very into like lost lore and treasure hunting and things like that. And now you want to salvage this thing that will be unusable. Are you hoping to find something in it?
I believe that it is our purpose to make the unusable usable. That is why everyone has a place here in this station. And I have no doubt of the doctor's abilities. I understand the doctor, and I think that idle hands are as much of a detriment to him as they are to me. Some people just function better when they have a purpose.
I can understand that. Definitely. Doot doot. Kamenuk looks at your console and says, Commander, you have a priority 1 message from Vice Admiral.
Of course I do.
Should I put it through?
Oh, yes, please.
On screen. On the screen next to your desk, you see Vice Admiral Barrett, a 50-something human male, salt and pepper hair, on your screen, looking a bit perturbed. And he says, Commander Veluth, what is this I'm hearing about stopping work on the Bavel salvage? Is that going to slow down the Ross build? The new Ross build?
No, it will not. We have come across an anomaly in the ship, and we need time to decipher what it is. We believe that whatever is gotten itself so intricately woven into the ship system may very well be sentient. I believe that it is for the best and adhering to the Federation's standards that we do everything possible to ensure that if this is sentient, that it is removed and replaced and rehomed somewhere where it can thrive.
What? I'm sorry, I'm not seeing anything in these reports that says this thing is sentient. What makes you think it's sentient?
Because I'm not certain that it is not.
Okay, you sure this isn't something you can just sweep out of there and just...
With all due respect, Admiral, as far as I'm aware, the Federation does not take the stance of potentially removing life simply because it is easy.
Yes. Okay, sure. Yep, you're right. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm just under a lot of pressure to get these ships built, and I was not pleased to see that the salvage work had been paused. Also, though, I have to ask you, will this unbalance your resources? If it's not going to slow down the project, that means it seems like the Ross build is underway.
The Ross build is, in fact, underway. I understand the reputation of this station, and I intend to uphold its traditions of bringing the best to the fleet. Unfortunately, sir, I do not have enough information to tell you in regards of whether or not we need to reallocate resources. Once I have that information, I can assure you, you will be the first to know. Currently, I have our very best minds working on finding out exactly what the situation is, what is needed to resolve the situation, and how we can progress further.
All right. Well, I'm going to just have to see what you come back to me with.
I will keep you informed.
Okay. Just closes the channel immediately.
I'm going to look over to Kamanook and go, any notes?
Notes on what?
On how that was handled.
Oh, I mean, the Vice Admiral clearly doesn't understand the work that we do here on the ground, because you wouldn't just sweep up something that might be sentient. That makes no sense. So I think your response was very adequate.
Did you notice anything particularly strange in that conversation?
From him or from you?
Either.
Not from you. No, I don't know. Admirals always kind of seem like that to me.
To me as well. However, I did notice that there seemed to be urgency in the request of the development of the ship that does not fit the original commission. I find myself curious as to the purpose of this new ship.
Yeah, we're not in wartime anymore, so yeah, what's the big rush?
And the thought that an admiral would consider telling someone under their station to sweep it up. Something about that does not sit well with me.
So, do you think there's some secret purpose to this urgency?
I think that my level of interest in the ship has raised.
Well, I will now also keep a closer eye on things.
Very good. Now, to add a bit of levity to our morning conversation, I need a fresh cup of tea, if you will. I had to call them the very best minds of Starfleet.
Yes,
That
of
was
course.
humor.
Of course. Kamenuk goes over to the replicator, replicates 2 cups of raspberry hibiscus tea, and pulls them out of the replicator, hands you one.
Thank you. You know, I would have received at least 3 communications from Lieutenant Coy by now.
I wonder if she's just very busy back home.
I hope that she's happy. That is all.
Kamenuk scoops up his pad and goes back into the second office. Shoop, shoop. Over in Rion's world, Dr. Rylem Rion, in just a few minutes, you are meant to check in with your counselor, Counselor Bristol Fatum. This is your monthly required Starfleet check-in for, how do we put this? Well, unsubtly, it's for all ex-Borg who are commissioned by Starfleet. But the way they put it is a wellness check-in. So, where do you usually take this? It's, well, actually, I will give you the choice. Did you choose for this to be in person or a virtual check-in?
Either way. I don't know if the shipyard does it have. I imagine Starfleet's pretty good about putting counseling services available pretty much everywhere they're having any kind of service. So I'm. If you could, do you think there would be one on Utopia Planitia?
Yes, absolutely.
In which case, I'm sure I was assigned to that counselor
Yep.
for Utopia Planitia.
Yes. And let me get my notes. There is a specific department in our setting guide. Do you have that open?
I did open it. I hope it was the right one. Let me see. Okay. I'm not going to lie. I bought the Shackleton Expanse PDF while we started up the game, and so I've had that kind of creeping looks over at it. So let me switch off of that. Let's see. But that still counts, Modifius. Somebody clicked on the link. It still counts.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's see. I don't. Yeah, I don't think I have the proper one open.
I have it up. Give me one sec too.
Me. Right. I have it up. I'm Kaitlin. I take notes and I know all the PC names.
Are you jealous of the momentum that
maybe
for you?
Wow,
maybe.
Eric, tell us how you really feel.
Glad I was
I'm going to a counselor.
one.
I'm getting in touch with my feelings. I know.
Yeah. Wow.
Eric did assign
work on
me and
this.
Sam, or assign threat to Aliza because me and Sam were making puns in the
Y'all,
in the chat.
there's
okay.
punnery
That's
taking
what that
place
was.
in chat. Yeah, no, that's why Eliza's getting threat. Let's see.
I got 10 threat from the puns.
Yeah, there's 10 threat. So, when the Dominion Borg invade, it's y'all's fault.
Okay, I have it open now too.
Okay, cool.
Employee
And-
assistance program.
Thank you. It was such an easy name, and literally I named it, and I could not remember.
Well,
the
to be
name.
fair, that's a very easy name, and in Star Trek, you
To
don't
forget.
immediately
You don't get
reach for the
those.
easy. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
oh, it's a
it's
simple
true.
one that I'd be familiar with.
If I had made it something more like obtuse, maybe.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
have
Yeah,
remembered it.
yeah.
I literally have had corporate jobs where they had an employee assistance program, so it's like the most corporate-y name for something.
Yep.
So above game, since we've kind of paused in the drama, Above game, this is a program that was mentioned in Strange New Worlds and inspired by what they mentioned. So in this Utopia Planitia setting, the Employee Assistance Program is a team of counselors and what we would consider social workers who interface with employees to help address various wellness and therapeutic needs, anything from trauma counseling to encouraging an employee to take painting lessons or join a softball league. So yes, Dr. Rylem Rion, you have been assigned with one of the counselors in the Employee Assistance Program. You all would have access to this program. If they know that you have had a recent trauma or something major like a death in the family or an injury that you're struggling with, you probably would automatically get pinged by them and say, hey, here are some resources. Can we meet and we can give you these resources and also do a little counseling. But as I said, unsubtly, it is a requirement for ex-Borg in this sense to get a monthly check-in. And this requirement doesn't come from the Employee Assistance Program. It comes from beyond them. This has been ordered by higher up, the upper brass of Utopia Planitia Command.
Because I'm an
Once they
XB
found
building
out
the
that
engines
an
of their
ex-Borg-
Starfleet ships. Yeah.
Exactly. Once they found that out, they made the Employee Assistance Program schedule monthly check-ins with Dr. Rylem Rion. And so today is the day for the next monthly check-in. And so are you heading straight to the counseling center?
Yep. Head straight to
Okay.
the counseling center.
All right.
Data
So
pad in
you
hand as
enter-
usual.
Yep. You enter the counseling center, and there are actually glass doors that open up, and you enter. They close behind you, and it is this very comfily appointed room, front lobby, where there's a reception desk, and there are lots of comfy couches, mostly in like beiges and shades of yellow. Veevee would just flip out. Why isn't it all white? What is going on here? But
I'm
it's
just,
all
and I'm like in stark all black from head to toe. Just,
yeah, these like warm, neutral colors surrounding you. You see a couple of other of your fellow Utopia Planitia employees waiting on couches for their appointments, and then off to both sides there are doors for private counseling rooms, and then straight ahead, across from you from where you entered, is a beautiful. I said glass, but what I mean is transparent aluminum because that's what they use in Starfleet.
transparent aluminum?
Beautiful. Yeah, I just remembered that from, I think the Picard episode mentions transparent aluminum.
Does it really?
And I was like, oh
That's
yeah,
so
they
funny.
do. Yeah,
It's literally
they
from Star
use
Trek 4.
transparent aluminum
That's
'cause
fantastic.
It's like more durable than glass in space. Like it makes more sense. But yeah, the transparent aluminum window across from you, massive, takes up the whole far wall, and you see the beauty of the Utopia Planitia shipyards kind of stretching out in front of you, the Martian horizon. And that's what you see.
Okay.
The receptionist looks up at you and says, oh, Dr. Rion, you're here right on time, of course. You can head right in. He's waiting for you.
Thank you.
And you know straight where to go.
Step inside.
Okay. Oh, Dr. Rion. It's good to see you.
Commander Fadden.
Please have a seat.
Thank you. Slide into the chair, crosses legs and leans back.
Immediately pulls out a pad and opens up a document. And how are you feeling today?
Angry.
Angry. Can you tell me more about that? And he's taking notes.
I have been asked to prove myself.
Can you be more specific? How were you asked to prove yourself?
Starfleet's technology in propulsion is, in my opinion, nearly a decade behind where it should be right now. Because of the recent conflicts of the past 20 years, Starfleet has been more heavily focused on defense efforts, which is logical. We have innovated the Akira class, the Defiant class, the Steamrunner class. We have re-implemented the use of carriers and fighter squadrons. Starfleet has made leaps and bounds in creating a solid defense force and alliance with the great galactic powers. And yet we are still traveling by basic warp speeds. In many regards, we should be moving much faster. And I have spent the better part of my adult life working to innovate in that field. My accomplishments exceed that of many of my peers, but they are not given to me by my peers. As I have been reminded by some of the other brilliant minds of Starfleet, the knowledge that I have acquired by propulsion is not my knowledge. It is knowledge that has been stolen from over 100 million species that have been subjected to extermination and assimilation. And
He's taking lots of notes right now.
And so I am to inherit the sins of my captors when I am trying to make the best of what I have left.
What do you perceive as what you have left?
My work. And they won't
work.
let me work.
What else do you have left? I want you to really think about that question. What else do you, Rylem, have left?
I have
since
my
that
family, of course.
You have your family. What else?
My faith in the prophets, which I confess has helped me.
Good. What else?
I have a partner of whom I'm still navigating those waters, as they say.
Yes. What a blessing. What else? There's one thing you haven't mentioned. Two things, really, but they're interconnected. You look confused. You have your body. You have your mind.
Starfleet doesn't seem to think so. Isn't that why we're having this meeting, Counselor?
Yes. I will say Starfleet worries about you, as they would with anyone who was held captive and taken over by nanoprobes. Do you think that's do you think that is not a true concern for Starfleet?
I think that is a logical concern. I think in many cases, mine is unique. The collective does not function the worst part about all of it is that no matter how much I may grow, it is never in the past. I don't know what happens if I were to have contact with the collective again. I've read the reports. I've read all of the intelligence. I've heard of XBs, hearing the voices. I've read Admiral Picard's papers about his time. I don't know. But if you're asking me if I begrudge Starfleet for taking precautions, no, I do not. However, I do take issue. Commander, I'm either allowed to be a propulsion engineer or I am not. I am being put in a position right now where I have been politely asked to indulge and enjoy mediocrity.
I think what I'm hearing you say, there's two concerns here, two main concerns. One is a professional concern, one is a personal. Now, professionally, yes, you have this title of director of propulsion design, right? And it sounds like you are being cooped into only constructing or designing the construction of instead of designing new technology. Is that correct?
There's a conundrum with the Ross class that they have asked for it to be updated. It needs updating.
Yes.
It hasn't had a significant upgrade since the NX model was first constructed. It needs a purpose. And so far, Starfleet hasn't innovated quite like it should. There's an incredible amount of potential in the Ross class. It's a blank canvas ready to be used. The secondary warp core I find to be completely extraneous, or at least I did in the beginning. And now I'm finding uses for it because I was set loose to come up with a solution to a problem. And I'm coming up with some fascinating theories of things that we could do with a secondary component. Starfleet's already... I'm sorry, I've gotten on to... What was the original question?
No, this is good. This is actually really good. You were answering the question. I asked you if that was the professional concern, that you want to innovate more and you feel like you are just being told to build things.
I
not
have a
getting
commander who, yes, that is essentially it. And
All right.
I will say, Commander Zaluth has actually done me a great service by being honest with me. And I do not begrudge him at all. He is simply doing what Starfleet tells him to do. But I have essentially been very politely told to just give them another ship. You don't need me for that. You could get any graduate, any engineered graduate. There's plenty of brilliant engineers in Starfleet that would be excellent at this job if all they want is another Ross class.
So what I'm hearing is that do you feel you're not at the right job then? Because there are research positions at Daystrom Institute. You came from there, you could go back and probably get a very good research position there.
No, I don't think I could anymore.
Why not?
Because Dr. Brahms is retired. And without her endorsements, I doubt they would want me back. She was the only thing protecting me from being expelled from that place.
So what I'm hearing now is there's a possible avenue, but you're saying no to it before it can say no to you. You haven't even tried.
You're
How
not
do you know that
wrong.
would be the outcome?
You're not wrong for pointing out my cynicism. I'm not sure I'm wrong for having it.
I'm not sure you're wrong for having it either. I'm just trying to help you see around some things.
I don't know. It was a big deal to get this position, and I thought this was going to... I thought I had finally achieved escape velocity when I accepted it.
Escape velocity. Kind of starts typing fervently. Tell me about that feeling. What does that mean for you? Escaping what?
I thought by accepting this position, I had gotten past this nonsense.
You mean your past, the way that Starfleet views your past?
Yes.
Is that what you mean? All right. Just want to be sure.
It's an odd thing. If I was in their position, I would understand a level of caution. I would. Of course. But I can't help but think about a moment when reading on the experiences of Admiral Picard there was a moment in his career where Starfleet specifically told him they removed him from a position into which he would have been vitally important, and he disobeyed that order and instead helped rescue us from a second Wolf 359. And I am stunned that Starfleet has not learned that lesson yet. And I don't feel like I should have to prove myself again. I was the youngest graduate of the Severin Cockram Institute. I'm the youngest professor that institution has ever had. I'm here at Utopia Planitia. They want me to innovate. They want me to build. Let's put this to use. They won't let me. They want me to prove myself again. Are they wasting my time and theirs? I have more than half a life that is missing. I am not willing or interested in waiting anymore to do what it is that I can do. But I don't have a choice. I have to. I have to do this because I'm not going to leave this position. I am going to have to prove myself. Again.
May I offer you something? I think you've been focused on that escape velocity, that capturing that feeling of finally getting to a level where you can escape how your past has followed you in your career. And it seems like you are realizing you have not quite reached that. But I will offer you this. You have a team that works under you. You have young engineers who look up to you and who one day would love to be able to do the level of work that you do. Perhaps this is an opportunity as well. However they want you to prove yourself, I'm not sure you should focus on that, to be honest. No. I mean, I'm employed by Starfleet, but I'm here for you. When we meet, I'm your counselor, and I want what's best for you. And I will say, focusing on what someone else wants for you and wants you to keep proving, it's not going to be productive or healthy for you. But I think what is healthy is making the best of where you are and the people who are counting on you and who look up to you. So maybe invest some time and thought into them. How can you make Utopia Planitia and your propulsion design team the best there is? It's just something to think about.
The advice that I continue to get is that I should just make the best of a bad situation.
Well, I think that's always the advice, but everyone comes to a stopping point with that, a point where you can no longer operate within those conditions. And if you're at that point, then you have to make a change. But if you're not at that point yet, there are many other things you can still be doing to make the best of a less than ideal situation.
Something
He
to think about.
pushes another pad towards you, and this is towards the end of your sessions. You're used to this ritual. The questionnaire, the dreaded questionnaire. And you look over at the pad and the same 3 questions every time. Have you had any thoughts of rejoining the collective? Have you heard any voices? Have you had any experiences that have brought you back to the collective? Same 3 questions every time.
And just like every time he's handed this questionnaire, there is this powerful impulse to just be like, yes, yes, yes. And then under comments, just been like, today I implanted an antimatter bomb in the warp core containment facility just to see what it would look like if you could spot it from orbit when I detonated it. Like there's a part of him that just wants to sort of light the match and watch the career burn behind him, but he just goes down the list and goes, no, no, no.
Okay. Thank you. Well, our time is up.
Thank you, Doctor.
And, yes. It's good to see you, Doctor. Be well.
And you. And he will step out of the room and step out of the counseling session, like remove himself from the lobby. When he gets outside, he just takes a deep, deep breath, and he reaches up and he touches his earring for a second, and then he'll just walk on in thought.
Okay. And with that, I think we're actually going to take our break early today. Mike, are we prepared to do that? Is that all right?
Admiral?
All right. We got the okay from Mike. And so, yeah, we'll be back in 10 minutes to continue episode 4 of Clear Skies Perseverance. We'll see you back here.
My son, the Terran Emperor, has merged with an entity of great power. As a Terran, conquest is a way of life, but he has gone too far. Now, we must join forces with enemies, or face obliteration. I want to bring him back from this, but I'll do what I must to stop him. No matter the cost.
This is Defender. We could use more armored units at City Hall, and we have wounded here.
Red Snake, you have incoming contact. Witchcraft, Ironclad, Black Mask. What's your situation?
The undead are numerous and running amok. We're falling back to 4th Station Steelhead.
Go forth, my children, and feed upon the living.
I'm just finishing up my patrol now. What the? I was wrong. Things are starting to heat up.
The battle rages onward. Victory will be ours.
Calling all champions. This is a global distress call. Report to the nearest crisis zone and engage the enemy.
Metahumans detected. Changing targeting lock.
There's something happening down below in the North Dark Reaches, and I need someone to find out what. A friend of mine, a dark elf by the name of Braylon Janquay, sent a message up that he'd found something unusual, but then disappeared. I need to know what he knows.
My son, the Terran Emperor, has merged with an entity of great power. As a Terran, conquest is a way of life, but he has gone too far. Now, we must join forces with enemies, or face obliteration. I want to bring him back from this, but I'll do what I must to stop him. No matter the cost.
This is Defender. We could use more armored units at City Hall, and we have wounded here.
Red Snake, you have incoming contact. Witchcraft, Ironclad, Black Mask. What's your situation?
The undead are numerous and running amok. We're falling back to 4th Station Steelhead.
Go forth, my children, and feed upon the living.
I'm just finishing up my patrol now. What the? I was wrong. Things are starting to heat up.
The battle rages onward. Victory will be ours.
Calling all champions. This is a global distress call. Report to the nearest crisis zone and engage the enemy.
Metahumans ejected. Changing targeting lock.
There's something happening down below in the North Dark Reaches, and I need someone to find.
And we're back from break, continuing on in this episode 4 of Clear Skies Perseverance. Before we begin, there's an announcement that I did not give because Bonnie told me after. I didn't realize we are
right.
So the D20 cruise is coming up in April, mid to late April. I'm going to be dungeon mastering on the cruise for the first time. Yeah, I'm excited. And Bonnie let me know that there actually have been, I thought it was sold out, which is why I didn't say anything, but apparently there are some rooms that have become available. So if you are interested, I'm looking for the website. I think it's event.cruises/D20cruise at TTRPG.
If you just Google D20 Cruise, it'll pop up. But the problem is that it still hasn't sold out on the website. You have to go to Facebook and join their like Facebook group. And they posted like 2 rooms just popped up, 2 cabins. So yes, and the reason why I'm aware of this is because Xander and I have been officially added to the cruise as well.
Okay, yeah.
Xander
I
will
didn't know
be
if I should announce
DMing.
that.
Yeah. I actually wrote one of the people to check, like, am I allowed to say on? Xander will be DMing. I will be doing a concert. And I don't know what else. NPCing, and I might even be doing a one-shot. Oh, dear Lord. At least it'll be at sea and no one will have proof of it.
Well, now that I know
At sea,
that
no one
you're
can see your eggplant.
No,
there.
oh, no one will see my eggplant.
Now that I know you're going to be there.
Yeah, you can use me. That sounds
good to know. Good to know.
I'll be your NPC, Aliza.
Yes, only
specifically
with
that
voice
one.
Ever. Yeah, exactly.
The Swamp Witch, obviously.
I do have an underwater themed adventure, so that would be fitting.
There we go. Okay, then. Back to Star Trek. Woo.
Back to Star Trek. Okay, so we're back in, and I'd like to continue and see what Rylem, where do you go after your counseling session?
I think I would probably go to. Is there an arboretum or like an area here at Utopia Planitia where people can just decompress? Because I think that's where he would head.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, while he's walking, he is going to start reading up. Just from looking at some of the passive reports of like updates on how the salvage is going, because Rion has no clue about any of the stuff that's going on the ship right now. Absolutely none. He is just going to start coming across it while he's going through his data pad and just start going, what?
Surprise.
And
yeah,
he'll stop when he finally gets to the arboretum, and just as he's kind of thumbing through it, reading what he can of just like, what?
Catching up on everything that's happened.
Yeah.
All of the science that has been done to pinpoint what this thing is and trying to get responses from it and all of that. Yes. So yes, the Arboretum is on the first floor of the Administration and Habitation building, which is the building you're in right now. That's where I believe all of your quarters, all of our Utopia Planitia crew have quarters in this building. It's also where a lot of offices like intelligence and labs, like the biomedical lab, is also in this building. It's a really big honking building that has a lot of work and life and play facilities. The Arboretum takes up a good third of the bottom floor. So there's the lobby level where you enter, and that, if y'all remember, where Veluth had to pick up his tour on the first day. That's the lobby level. And then the back third of that floor, if you just continue walking, it becomes more and more arboretum-like. You see more and more density of trees and fauna, flora. And then you are in the arboretum. And it's a nice mix of tropical with, oh, I'm going to get these wrong, aren't I? Tropical and, let's just say, deciduous. Sure, whatever.
We get you.
A very diverse mix of things that shouldn't maybe coexist in a habitat like this. But of course, they've figured out a way to give them all what they need. And you have this beautiful arboretum. If anyone watches the show La Brea, There's a really cool arboretum in that show. So I'm kind of imagining that, but like just one level, not a dome. So that's where you find yourself. And there are benches all around. And you can just find a corner and process.
Okay. Yeah, he's just going to find himself a nice little corner. Take position over there and start scrolling through his data pad and just kind of like... What is happening? It's kind of what he's saying to himself as he's scrolling through.
As he's sitting there decompressing, I'm going to be walking through back to my security office, and you'll see me like with a pad just going over names. Okay, not Bob, not entity, sentient intentina, and just going through different names of what to call this thing, so we're not referring to it as like it or the being on the hull, or so give it some personality and character, if you will.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna be walking through like completely like hyper focused.
The problem is
we're both hyper focused.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The problem that this now sets up is that you
shortest
walk right
scene
past
in Star Trek Adventures history.
You walk right past
in my
Rion.
office, and now I'm on my lunch
I would love
break.
that if they physically bumped into each other.
I was literally about to spend the threat to have Qila bump into a tree.
Are we getting Star Trek DQ?
That's a very Bonnie move.
Yeah.
You know what?
I'm spending a threat for Ensign Qila. There's a tree in front of you that you don't see.
Bam.
Walk right into it.
Ah!
I will roll damage. Just kidding. I'm not
Oh
gonna.
no! Now I have a concussion.
What is your fitness score?
Call medical. No, I am a Ferengi. My fitness score is negative. Ow.
I guess hearing you go will cause Rion to look up from his data pad, and he looks over at you and says, "What are you doing?"
Inspecting the fauna.
You need this tricorders for that.
I wanted to get a more personal approach as I pull a splinter out of my head.
He'll approach you and look at the size of the splinter and says, "Nice."
Do I need to go to med bay?
And he'll look at her forehead and just be like, "No, I think you're going to be all right. I don't think you need a tissue regenerator or anybody to." Yeah. Is this what I think is? Am I reading this correctly? And he holds up his data pad where you see that he's looking at the reports.
So you've caught up now.
Yes, much like you in the tree, I stumbled upon this.
Yes, there's a lot been happening while you've been in your warp bubble. I thought it was a funny joke in my head, but
Question.
I just probably have a concussion, so
It might be a concussion, yes.
Yeah. That was me talking Bonnie.
Oh.
A warp bubble.
I have a question for you.
I have an answer.
Has anybody contacted anyone at Starfleet Command or anybody anywhere? Isn't there a special science division to deal with this sort of thing so that Utopia Planation can get back to the work?
I mean, I would assume so. I'm assuming someone above us would be submitting everything to Starfleet. I mean, I submit my reports every day of what my findings have been. But I am quite curious as to why they haven't sent specialists up here. I feel like we're all going in blind with this. This is way past my skill set. I've tried to communicate with it. See, this is the problem. I keep calling it, and I hate that. We need to...
Why?
Because I don't know. I feel like we should be giving it some kind of respect. We don't even know what it is.
There's nothing disrespectful about it?
No, but... I don't know. What do you think of Intentina? It's an entity. We don't really know anything about it, but Intentina, it's kind of pretty, right?
I suppose that does have a nice ring to it. And
Just something so that way I can, and then once maybe we can communicate with Intentina, they can let us know what their name or I
question. Is the creature, this life form, is it displaying any kind of intelligence?
I wouldn't say it's displaying intelligence per se. I feel like it's showing us that it's aware and it's there. I feel like it's definitely making its presence known.
That seems to hint that at least it's displaying some kind of intelligence, I would think. But this is a lot. I can't believe I didn't know this was happening. I've been pretty wrapped up in trying to figure out what to do about the everything else that's happening. I guess.
Do you need help with that? I could probably help with that more than this.
In truth,
I've
you
used all
probably
my
could.
resources.
Being security for Utopia Planitia, well, not security, you're intelligence, aren't you? So.
Well, security goes with the territory. Who
Right.
else is going to make sure everything is in tip-top shape? I run a type ship. Yard.
That was good. That was pretty good.
Ow.
You. He glances around just to see who's nearby, and he just leans in and says, I've been having some troubling conversations with the commander recently. Nothing against the commander, but Starfleet doesn't seem to have full faith in some of my proposals.
Well, that's absurd.
Well,
You're the most qualified person on this junkyard.
They seem to have reservations still about me. They're not saying it directly, but they're making it known.
Well, maybe I need to have a word with the commander.
I think that is the wrong thing to do. That is the opposite thing of what you should do.
But I could do it.
Yes, you could do it.
Where he would know that I know that you know that he's not respecting.
Why don't you wait till the commander comes to you and asks about that? It will look very... It won't look good if you go to the commander and start...
If I can help with any of your warp issue, design, whatever, I mean, this is way past my thing. I don't know. I think I could give it a shot and help you out for some stuff. But that being said, I could submit a report saying how amazingly impressed I was with
Right.
your skill set.
Let me put it this way. You know how... Let me put it this way. You know everything you've gone through to wear that uniform? Imagine...
Wear anything.
Right. So imagine then coming up to me, telling me about all of the things you've been through. How would you respond if I said, well, what can I do to fix that for you? My point is that...
I see your point.
Yeah, no, my point is just to make sure that you do. I love that you want to help. Thank you. I don't know how anyone helps. I don't know how to navigate this particular equation. And while I desperately appreciate what you're trying to do, the truth of the matter is that I feel like I'm just going to have to go through this. I don't know personally. I don't know. I can't solve that problem for them.
I just don't like seeing you being disrespected when it's because of their closed-mindedness.
I know. And if I can be honest with you, Qila, I think the thing I'm struggling with the most is realizing that there is just a little part of me that also is a little prejudice against me.
Well, as someone who spent most of their life having to prove themselves as well. And honestly, with the people I know back home, I still haven't. But I get it. I get it. And that feeling's probably not going to go away for either of us.
Yeah. I should talk to Ty at some point here. Ty is on this, right? And he holds up the data pad.
Oh, Ty is on it.
There might be an opportunity here. There might be a big opportunity here.
With Intentina?
I'm sorry, what are you calling the creature again?
Intentina. It's a sentient entity. I think it's pretty.
It is pretty.
Thank you.
I am remembering the rule of acquisition number 9. Do you remember that one?
Opportunity plus instinct equals
profit. If there is anything to be gained from this Intentina is going to force a delay, because Ty is definitely going to need to learn about what this is and what's inside and how to carefully remove it, assuming it can be removed.
Remove it, return it back to whence it came.
Help it in any way. Intentina needs help, right? Okay, so that could conceivably cause something of a delay, which is not going to make the commander very happy, but it makes me very happy. More time that's out of our control could be used to... do something very similar to what a Starfleet admiral once did when he was told not to interfere. I am going to need... I'll leave it at that. Sorry. I just realized the less you know, the better.
Well, wait, no.
Yeah, I know. But trust me.
I'll respect it. But listen, also, rule of acquisition number 33. It never hurts to suck up to the boss. Don't be afraid to let your walls down a little bit with the commander. Maybe if he just got to know you, not just as doctor. Maybe if he got to know the real you a little bit more.
Maybe. But I know Vulcans very well, as you know. And while it's true, the commander is a little surprisingly more emotional than I've seen most Vulcans, I can trust that the commander will do whatever is in the best interest of Starfleet, as per his duty. Well, but I won't dismiss what you've said. I think I need to speak to Ty.
Combine what you know and your ideas with what's happening with Intentina. Because, again, rule number 79, beware of the Vulcan greed for knowledge. The more you know, and the more you can give to the commander. Sorry. You know how I get once I start Rolodexing the rules and old habits die hard.
I brought it up.
I know, it's fine.
All right. By the way,
I actually did hit my head a little bit harder than I thought. Kind of a ring in my ear. I just
you have ringing in your ears? Why didn't you say that?
It's not-
You should
well-
go to the sick bay.
Well, a ring in my ears, meaning like just a dull throbbing.
Yeah,
Nothing-
you should. Now I'm going to say that you should go to sick bay, Qila. If it was a splinter, that's one thing. If you are experiencing any kind of sound that only you are hearing, you should go to sick bay.
Has a nice ring to it.
Haha, that's good.
Ow,
Go to sick
ow,
bay.
okay, yep. I'm gonna go to sick bay.
Go to sick bay.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Mhm.
All right.
And
Well, I
then
think you should go down to salvage.
I'm going to go
Maybe
to
see our
salvage.
little Entitina for yourself.
Yes.
Tell
I'll
them
check
I
that.
said. Well, I tried to say hello quite a few times already, but if you figure out a way to crack the code,
Maybe I could scan it and give Ty some support.
I think that's a good idea.
Go to sick bay.
Yep. On it.
And he nods to you with a smirk and then starts heading off in the direction of salvage, where he almost never goes when he's outside of his lab.
Yes. At this point, who all is in salvage still? Okay, definitely Kaz.
I live here.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so before we do that, though, I actually want to follow Qila. Where do you go next?
I don't go to sick bay.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah. I go to my quarters because I have a meeting. I have my own book club meeting that I'm running a little bit behind on. So I'm just gonna go handle that.
Do we see that, or do we cut away before that?
You see me in my quarters and getting on a secure channel, and in true Star Trek fashion, you won't see who pops up. You'll just see me going, "Hey!" and then cut away.
All right. Mhm. Okay, so then we do follow Dr. Rion arriving in salvage. And on your way over to salvage, Dr. Rion, you cross the courtyard, the outside courtyard. And as a reminder, our Utopia Planitia has a dome, a really large dome that covers the whole campus. So it seems like you're exposed to the open air of Mars, but you really are under a dome, an invisible dome. And it's a force field. It's an energy dome. So as you cross in the seemingly open air Martian outdoors across the campus to salvage, you get an alert on your pad, and it's another space weather alert. And this one says, imminent meteor shower at Utopia Planitia. All hands be alert.
Okay. He immediately, instinctively, just looks straight up at the sky.
Yeah. So you look up at
starts
the sky,
moving
and
quickly.
it's midday. Yeah, it's midday. So as you're walking, if you keep looking, you'll see this. If you just glance, you won't. But if you keep your eye up on the sky, you're going to start to see little flashes hitting that dome, that energy dome. And so it seems like
Okay.
a light meteor shower is underway.
Okay. Yeah, he monitors that visually as he continues to move very quickly towards his destination.
Okay.
Yep.
You arrive in salvage, and everything is as it has been. So I'll re-describe it for you, because this is actually the first time you've been in salvage, I think, for this our journeys here. Very huge, large warehouse type of building. Right now, there's a few different pieces of builds in the space, but the one that you see first as you walk in is the piece of the USS Bovell, the Ross-class ship that is being salvaged and deconstructed, and that has this strange structure inside of it. You see that up on... searching for words. You see it being both suspended from the ceiling and also up on some type of supports from the floor so that it's not really touching the ceiling or the floor. There's also a visible now force field around it because it's a very high level force field. And further back, you see 2 other builds of partial ships that are also being salvaged. And around that first build, the Beauvais piece, you see Lieutenant Kaz and her salvage team. Right now, it's Commander Keith and Lieutenant Commander Gina Roberts and the Tellarite. Oh, I thought I had his name right here. I think it was Naluth. I'm not even sure I said his name on stream, actually. Let me look it up.
Flashbacks of what it's like to run STA. 300 pages of NPCs, and all of them have names that are just like, wait, what did I name this guy?
Yo, I have a system, but I need to improve the system because it's still kind of clunky. I'm working on that. Nehulsh, the Tellarite, who wanted to, if I remember correctly, in a previous episode, he wanted to just go in and like blast the thing in the ship, and had to be talked down from doing that.
He was the one who was very upset with my initial prompt of let's just put it back together. He was like, no, absolutely.
Yeah. He's like, can I just phaser it or something? Like, yeah. So that's who all is still here.
Okay.
In Kaz, you're in conversation with your team. Oh, actually, some time has passed. Let's do an engineering roll and see how, because there was some setting up of creating a hull attachment.
Yeah, basically like close the rest of it to like a tiny like pocket of a ship.
Okay, to see how this thing reacts.
Yeah.
Okay.
One question just before I roll. Is this like the like body of a ship? Is this part of like a disc of the ship? Because we know it's like a quarter section of it, but is this like part of a nacelle, part of the body? Like which piece are we looking at?
This is a great question. I'm gonna describe it and then I'll try to find more specific like visuals to give you for it.
Yeah.
So I imagine that it's part of like. Wish I had a ship model.
Oh, I actually.
You do?
I have 1 second.
I have like a Lego this, but this is not the type of ship we need. Oh, I also have lots of books here. Oh, okay. You know, I can. Okay.
I lied. I don't have one.
Okay. All right. Well, I need to work on getting a.
I don't know where it is.
Betrayal.
I know. I'll find it. I was gonna pull it up today and I didn't.
I also have Klingon raiders and birds of prey on my wall, but not any Starfleet ships. You know where my
see where your loyalties are now.
You got
it. I think I'm like. I just want to know if it's like which of the main 3.
Yeah.
Segments is it?
So I have a feeling maybe this dark page will show up. No, it shows up a little better. Can you see that?
A little bit. Yes.
Yeah. It's so hard to see. This is not even the right class of ship. Oh wait, this bottom one is a closer approximation. You know what? Sorry. One more thing. I'm gonna try to look at the Ross in the new book because that actually would be the best thing to show you this on. So let's try this.
Aliza, we also, and whenever you want, just let me know because we also still have that beautiful packet that Thomas Marrone put together for us of the USS Ross, detailing all of the decks of the ship as well as.
Can you wait?
You shall not say for work content like the Ross on stream.
I think she's too hot because I don't remember that. Can you send that to me and to Mike? Because maybe we can put that up on screen for everyone.
Sure. Even contains a forward by its original captain. I'll put that into the old chat. I'll throw that up in our Discord chat here.
Who's that? Weird.
That would be better than the paper version too. All right.
I threw it up in general chat.
Okay.
By the way, I'm going to advocate that as extra content for everybody, we should consider the possibility of convincing Sam to allow us to share all of the waterfall of puns that none of you all get to see during game. Just like avalanche of brilliant puns that we get every game session.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm very well behaved.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so on page 5 of that PDF. 5 and 6 would be helpful, but we can start with page 5. Oh wait, that's starboard.
I'm just over here silently geeking out over this.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful document.
Thomas-
Is this something we can share with our coffee or Patreon?
Oh yeah, totally.
Our,
We shared it
Oxford?
before, but that was back when we were using Patreon. But yeah, Thomas created that for
Ah.
us. Thomas takes a lot of pride in his work, and when we worked together to put
Yeah.
together the USS Ross,
I have
he
never
created
seen
that.
this, by the way.
Oh yeah, no,
This
that
is
was one of
awesome.
the. Yeah, it's one of the documents that we gave out to the players as soon as we started the original Clear Skies campaign. It was pretty awesome.
That's
And Sam,
so
if I remember
cool.
correctly, you actually typed up that forward, didn't you? Welcoming everybody to the Ross.
Yeah. I needed to make
Pretty
sure
good
that the crew was oriented in the orientation packet.
Mhm.
Yes.
Lo and behold,
Yep.
very gay. Very gay ship.
Twas.
So
Yeah.
does everyone at least here have that open to look at? Okay. And Mike, let us know if you are able to throw it on screen for people. Page 5 of this PDF. So the upper, that's where it says starboard elevation. That's what I'm looking at. Now, what I'm imagining is that this is a slice of the bottom part of the ship. So if you're coming from the left towards the center, like neck of the ship, from that warp nacelle, go to the center neck and then go down. And it's
Okay.
a slice of that lower part of the ship.
Cool. That's kind of what I was imagining, like a piece of
Okay.
the body of it. But yeah, I just wanted to
Yeah,
double
yeah,
check
great.
that that's. We had said nacelle before, but that was like I wasn't sure if that was in reference to this one or another ship that was in there. I think also might have just been a word we threw out when we were showing things off. So I wanted to make sure that it was the body of the ship. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Sweet. And
So
then you
there's decks. There's we could get more detail about what is in this section, but it's probably a few decks. It's not going to be like a ton of decks because
Yeah,
this
just-
is
yeah, a little-
still an enclosed space. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean
You're the best, Mike.
You're
We
the
have an
best.
image.
Around.
Yes.
We're
So
looking
as
at,
I
like, the
described, y'all, now in chat, in our live viewing and in our VODs later in the future, you'll be able to see what we're talking about. Starboard elevation. And I also could have used as another orientation point, but where the starboard and elevation, there's that space between the two words. If you just go up that, like those next two little bottom sections of the ship. So there's the one that looks like kind of like the rudder if it were a water ship. And then the next like little bubbling out layer. It's like a slice of those two lower parts. A vertical slice, I'm imagining. And yeah, so that's also consequently what, if you were to go up into orbit and look at the full Bavel, you would see that slice missing.
Okay. Okay. Sorry to delay roll. I
No,
wanted
it's
to
a
make
great
sure
question.
I had it in my brain.
Yeah, great question.
Okay.
It's important.
So
All right. So you were gonna do a roll.
do I get an assist from like my crew or from computer systems or?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I would say both.
Okay.
This is probably not going to be too difficult because here's the thing. That cliche thing. Do you want to do this quick? Not cheap, doesn't matter. Your resources are unlimited here. Do you want to do this fast and good? Or sorry, fast and like not great quality, or a little bit slower and better quality? Because that's going to decide how hard this is to do.
I think. I mean, Kaz is not necessarily in charge of stuff, but I think that she would probably be one advocating for doing it right and like taking
A little more
the
time.
time. Yeah.
All right, cool. So it'll be a little bit more difficult for that, just taking the time to do it. But I will say it will help you later because
cool.
You're taking the time to do this right. Thank you. Page 6 is also now visible. Great. So we're getting a nice little view of the Ross. The original Ross. Okay, so go ahead and do your roll. So we're going to make this control engineering. Difficulty is, so I would say 2. Difficulty, I said, well, you're doing this. Difficulty 3. You have the computers of Utopia Planitia, and you have one crew member who will roll with you.
Okay.
An assist.
Okay.
And I will do that roll.
And I'm assuming we have gone enough scenes now that we don't have momentum.
Yeah, well, that was a magic momentum I awarded.
A magic momentum.
Yeah, because
No,
it was
it's okay.
outside of the confines of...
Welcome to
really...
Star Trek Adventures. Have a magical day.
I need to... I still haven't figured out what to do, like how we have story points in other of our games. So let's consider it that.
Well, and it was also a special momentum just for Kaitlin.
Just for being teacher's pet.
Yeah. Way to make us look bad, Kaitlin.
Yeah. Thanks,
So Kaitlin, you go ahead and...
Eric, you've GM'd games for me before. You know how I am.
I knew it was coming, yeah.
So I feel like it was a personal momentum, not like an actual momentum for us.
Oh my goodness, y'all are really getting in your heads about this.
I know. Look, let us have this, Aliza. We just want,
I know.
I
want
will
Kaitlin to have
say
momentum.
I have bold engineering, so if I do it with threat, I get a reroll. Is the only thing.
If you want to give me threat, I will never say no
Do
to
it. Yeah.
that. Okay.
I think I want to buy a die and give you a threat.
Thank you. All right, go for it. Difficulty 3, control engineering, and I will go ahead and assist you.
And I'm guessing starship construction will
Starship
give me
construction,
focus.
absolutely.
Okay, cool.
That gives you focus. And if someone else can, you all should have the Utopia Planitia
Yeah, you
sheet.
sent that to us.
So if someone else can pull that up and roll for the station, that would be great.
I'm busy with my book club.
Yes. Qila is busy. Let's see.
What do I roll? You want me to roll
Yeah.
an extra d20?
Yeah, just 1d20, and then let me open up the sheet myself. You, as the station, would roll.
Station.
Funny enough, none of the
I
systems
don't think I don't know if any of
really
them
makes
help.
sense.
It might be.
I mean, I'm thinking like the
Something
replicator, which would be a computer, to be honest.
Yeah, computer engineering maybe.
Yeah, computers engineering,
So
because
it's
you
18.
were like smelting and replicating this whole piece. All right, and then I just rolled for your crew member. We're gonna say it's Lieutenant Commander Gina, who rolled with you,
Oh, okay.
and she didn't do great. Oh, actually, she did fine. One success from the Lieutenant Commander.
Okay, I'm allowed one reroll,
Okay.
and I'm gonna do that because I'm aiming. Okay, never mind. Same thing. It was still a success, but I wanted to see if I could crit again because I just got 4 successes.
Whoa. Okay. Holy crap.
I rolled a 1, and then a 12 and a 10, and my number I needed to hit was 17. So that's
Woo.
it's 4.
All right. So that's 5 total. Anything from Utopia Planitia Station?
I rolled a 12
That's
for Utopia Planitia.
Sounds like a success. All right. So that's 6 successes. Bank all those momentum. And
Bam.
Use them. Make sure you use them. 'Cause we change scenes very quickly in this game. So y'all be sure to use your momentum. All right. Although now that you have lots, you will only lose 1. But anyway, still use your momentum. Okay. So yeah, you all spend a few hours building this piece and making sure that it fits as closely as the section that was laser cut off would have. And now you said you were going to be the one to apply this and reattach it. So that means you would need to get into an EV suit and enter the force field.
I do so.
Commander Keith is standing near a console and is widening the force field to give you some room in there because the force field has been kind of snug around this piece.
Yeah.
So now you have some space in there. Also equipping you with a crane so that you can like kind of move it into place and guide it manually.
I have focuses in both demolitions and EVA, so this is her whole. This is everything for her.
Great, fantastic.
So excited.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that that was to build it. I think you're gonna do another roll to
Put it down.
attach.
Okay.
And this will be also control engineering.
Okay. I'm gonna use one of those momentum to buy another die,
All right.
and I'm guessing my focuses apply.
Yes, focus applies. Ground vehicles because you're using the crane, I imagine. And then
Wait, I'll use my magic momentum for this. I'll leave the other three for everybody.
All right.
Magic momentum.
The difficulty here, I mean, you're just attaching it. Difficulty 2.
Okay. So control engineering.
Also, the difficulty is 2 because you took the time to build it right. It would have been harder if you had made like a clunky thing that doesn't fit as well.
Yay. Okay, cool. Here we go.
All right.
That is. Wait, what is my number?
Control engineering.
What number is that?
17.
No, it's on the die.
Oh, on your die.
So, I think that's an 18, so that one doesn't get. But I did get a 2 and a 3, so that's another 4.
Woo! Bank those momentum. 2 more momentum. Okay, so yeah, you expertly. Well, first of all, you enter this force field in your EV suit. And is there... Actually, I'd like you to describe this. You using this crane to attach the hull piece.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just, it's a lot of very slow moving because these are really large pieces. But I think she does take a lot of like care and like attention on like when she's, if there's any like soldering elements or bolting elements that she's not puncturing or perforating this structure any further than it already is. But yeah, it's just a very slow, I think for her, maybe even a little meditative. She does at one point, not even at one, like before she even goes in, she's got her like EV helmet on, and in her EV helmet is like the equivalent of Star Trek like AirPods. She's got one in because she's doing this solo, so she immediately needs noise. And she'll still be able to hear everyone if she needs to out of her other. But she has I think this week is Klingon opera is what she's been listening to, and so she just put something on, and it's just kind of a slow, almost meditative, moving like the large pieces that we've constructed into place and like bolting them in and kind of giving updates out loud into comms of like first piece on, second piece on. Rounding the corner, everything seems attached, like just kind of vocally assessing as she goes, and it's just it's kind of a waltz for her with this huge piece of equipment.
Yeah, so yes, imagining we hear the strains of Klingon opera being piped into Lieutenant Kaz's EV suit as she expertly navigates this piece into place. And as it just kind of gently touches the edge of the slice of ship, it comes to rest in place, and nothing happens. Lieutenant Commander Gina is on a console and also has the pad that had the special sensors set up, the tricorder sensors, and is looking at that holographic display showing this structure lit up, in a visible way. And Lieutenant Commander Gina says to you on comms, nothing seems to be happening right now. Maybe just we give it a minute or something. And 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes go by. And she keeps scanning. Yeah, we're still not getting anything. I don't think that did anything. Nothing changed.
Well, it's still an answer, I guess. It's still new information.
All right, get out of there, and we'll keep thinking of things.
Okay. Right. And she'll get everything, put back the way it was, and as far as like gear and stuff, we probably won't take the thing off if we don't need to.
Yeah. Before you leave, 2 things happen.
Uh-oh.
Actually, 3 things happen.
Here's where the threat comes in.
Yeah.
First of all, before you leave this force field, Dr. Rylem Rion enters.
Told you. Okay.
From the southeast entrance of the salvage. So And Doctor, you see what we've described. You see Lieutenant Kaz in an EV suit within the force field, the widened force field, and you see this kind of like smooth, bare hull plating that's just been attached to this section of the ship. You can tell it's not the original hull plating because it just looks kind of weird, different.
Right. Okay.
But it fits. That's the first thing that happens. Second thing that happens, just a few moments before you walked in, Doctor, you got an alert about a meteor shower, and you saw the beginnings of that meteor shower up above.
Sure.
You start to hear, and the only way to describe this for humans to understand is if you hear the tiny ting, ting, ting of hail on a roof, except louder and further away because it's hitting that energy dome. You start to hear ting, 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 different decibels, different notes of it, denoting different sizes hitting this energy dome. And you all remember, you're all actually experiencing this in all different parts of the ship that you're, of the station that you're in. You remember getting that alert and saying some of certain sizes, some of them can get in if they're small enough. Sometimes even if they're big enough and fast enough, they can just punch through this energy layer. And you're starting to realize the big ones are coming. And as this happens, the third thing is also happening, which is that within the force field, that glittering, almost ethereal sheet of something, molecules, starts lighting up in this iridescent rainbow color and flays out from the sides of the ship and starts encasing everything within the force field, including Lieutenant Kaz.
I think something's actually happening. I think maybe.
Oh my god! What? Okay, what is going on? Oh my god! Lieutenant Commander Gina.
Maybe don't open the force field.
On the holopad, she sees the lit up version of this now encasing you and everything around it, just kind of growing and spreading on its own. And Dr. Rylem, Rion, you are seeing this too. On the holopad.
I am going to immediately. Wait, you said to spend momentum, yeah?
What's that?
You said you could just burn. So I'm going to spend a point of momentum. Oh, look, I brought a tricorder.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So I'll spend a point of momentum and just I happen to have this on me. So without too much else, like fanfare about it, he's going to flip open the tricorder and immediately start running a scan. And as he's watching this and scanning, he is going to say, Dr. Reon to Ty?
Go for Ty?
Ty, you might want to... Actually, where are you right now?
I am currently collecting some instrumentation to measure our proposed experiment with the hull, and definitely not afraid of any meteor showers.
There's an effect taking place inside of... I think it's actually best if you just come to my location as quickly as you possibly can.
I'll be right there.
And as they say that, I'm going to initiate a scan on what I'm seeing.
Hey, Doc. How's it going?
I'm going to scan this.
Fair enough.
Commander Keith walks closer to the force field. And I haven't described Commander Keith. Have I? Yeah.
No, he's just always been absent. he's always
like
been
always
made
gone
reference to.
and quiet. Commander Keith is tall, strappingly built officer, engineering officer. You know what's funny? Little sidebar. I don't always like to describe characters physically because I kind of like it when people just imagine what they imagine. You know, I'll give them a voice and I'll give you some light description, but I won't always describe them to a T because I don't know. I kind of think it's fun to see what people think. But anyway, Commander Keith is tall, I'll tell you that, and muscular, and male presenting, male appearing. And he walks up closer to the force field and says, "How are you doing in there? You okay?"
I think I'm okay.
Are you feeling anything from that thing? It's kind of cocooning around you.
I'm not feeling anything. I'm guessing it hasn't been
Yeah.
described, so I'm gonna say
Yeah,
maybe
it hasn't
I'm.
been described.
It just feels the same.
Feels
Maybe?
the same, yeah. Actually, you know what? Let's have you roll for that.
I would like to.
Yeah. This is gonna be. Oh wait. Oh yeah, that's your sheet. Presence.
Presence.
Command. I would also, if
Whoa.
you'd like to do insight command, that could also work for this.
It's the same number.
It is the same.
Yeah, it's all good. That's alright. Let's find out what happens.
What is that reaction?
It's a 2 11s, and I needed a 9.
Okay. I will say this. It's very fun to sometimes think about what failing a role like this means, because it doesn't mean you don't feel anything. It means that maybe what you're feeling is not great, or not going to tell you important things about what's happening to you. It might kind of put you in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So what I will tell you is this. You're starting to freak out a little bit. This is very creepy. You do sense some type of energy, low level something coming from this. And it's creeping you out. I will also mention, because this is so thin, it's molecules thin, but now it has become visible. It's like lit up in this iridescent rainbow glow, reflection almost. You can tell that it's also under your feet. It's kind of created this cocoon with, there is air in there with you. You can tell because there's space, but it's maybe like 6 inches all around. You're starting to feel claustrophobic. And it also is, it's cocooned you with the parts of the ship, if you can imagine that. It's kind of creating like cocoon
It's around. It's the force field basically. It's like matching the force field now.
within the force field, but closer to the parts of the ship and you, hugging
yes,
you in
okay.
the ship. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Like an outline around you and the parts of the ship.
Well, not really any physical sensations. I guess. Just that it's sure is there. Maybe I'm just gonna stand here. Maybe. I think I'll just stand here.
Okay, keep calm and just keep breathing, all right?
I will do both of those things so well.
Commander Keith turns back to Lieutenant Commander Gina and says, can you just do some more scans? What else are we getting on this thing? And Lieutenant Commander Gina, I'm going to roll for her. Oh, I won't count that complication because that was an NPC, but she failed that roll. Let's see. She looks at the pad and says, I am seeing some type of energy just kind of radiating from it now. It's like pulsating.
Different from before?
Yeah, very different from before. Very different.
Well.
It's like something's been switched on. Like before it was just kind of inert and now it's like pulsing, radiating something.
Well, I guess now the question is this weather or hull addition related? 2 external stimuli at once doesn't really narrow down the testing pool.
Right. And at that point, Lieutenant Commander Gina looks at you, Dr. Rylem Rion. Great time for you to join us. Any thoughts on this?
Get back to you in a moment. I'm going to run my scan.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah.
And,
yeah, you're scanning.
We started doing something.
Yeah, and as I'm doing that, as I'm making the scan, I'm going to say you really should get Ty down here as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
The lieutenant
I
is going to
thought
be the
Ty
person
was
to
on
speak
their
to.
way.
Yeah.
Ty's on their way, I believe, yeah?
They get another chirp from someone else.
I'm
I'm
going to spend a point of momentum, if I may. Another point of momentum. Do we have any left?
What would you like?
We had like 5.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Now we're down to 3.
I'll spend a point of momentum, and Ty arrives.
Okay.
The timing is incredible.
The timing.
Yeah. And so Ty will walk in just as I'm running the scan on the tricorder.
What exactly do I see at the moment?
All right. So you see Dr. Rylem Reon running a scan on the tricorder. And I have a question about that. Actually, I'll ask it now. So, Eric, are you going to just do a regular scan?
Just a general sweep. I don't know what I'm
Okay.
looking at right now, so I'm basically just trying to get readings.
I think Kaz, if I can at all, Kaz could be like, I think they'll have documentation of the scans we've been doing before because it's kind of hard to pick up. If that's helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Now
Hard to
you
pick
can,
up?
Yeah. I was
hard
going to
to pick
say
up.
it would kind of be an autofail because we already know that regular tricorders don't pick this thing up. But now that Cass has given you that info, you can now get the sensor tunings and
Yeah, I think she'd be
Okay,
like, hey, Rod, Gina, can you just pass the number
Yep,
from the
on it.
I think it's
I'm
in
on it.
file 3 or folder 3. Yeah.
Got it. Sending it over to you, Doctor.
In which case, I'm going to. There are internal systems that I can use internal sensors inside. I mean, I'm assuming that when you are constructing and deconstructing ships inside, you probably have some pretty thorough sensors that are actually at work that are able to peer inside of vessels and whatnot. I'm going to actually snap close the tricorder and move right up to, just as Ty enters, I'm going to move up to one of the side consoles in the wall where the the station's computers, and start operating the sensors, the station's sensors, so that I have something a little more powerful, and I can take the data that I just got, and I'm going to look right up at Ty and just be like, I have no idea what's going on. I need your expertise here.
And Ty.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and to conclude that, he says, I'm pretty sure Kaz is glowing right now as he continues to type away on the LCARs.
You look over to the force field, and what you see is a large rectangular, steadily glowing blue force field, as you've seen many of them. High level, you can tell. Inside the force field, you see this vertical slice of the ship. You see a single metal attachment that's kind of like lining up to the hull and attached to it. There's a crane as well that's still connected to that. And then you see a Lieutenant Kaz inside the force field in an EV suit. Everything inside the force field within it is now encased in this very thin, sheer gauze type material. And it's cocooning it. It's not touching it per se, but it's got about 6 inches of air cushion around everything that it's encasing. It also is like very shimmeringly rainbow iridescent glow to it, as if it's reflecting light.
Welcome to the party.
See? What happened? What changed?
Basically, as I'm doing the scan, he is going to very dispassionately say exactly everything he witnessed as soon as he walked in, including making the connections between the timing of the storm and the events that are taking place. And then, can I go ahead and make the roll now for the scan, or should I wait?
Yes.
May I offer for you to wait because Ty was explicitly bringing instrumentation that might be useful to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was why they were gathering. That was why they were and very
assist.
conveniently, it's now on the floor because I was surprised and I dropped it.
And it broke because
At least one thing broke. It is going to be a pain later, but in the meantime, scanning equipment.
Okay. All right. So, with that additional instrumentation from Ty, and Ty, can you describe that instrumentation to me?
Yes, I was going to be getting gravitational and electromagnetic sensing, given that we know that this was somehow interfacing with dark matter, and the property of dark matter is that it will interface with grav and not electromagnetic, although now it very clearly is because it's reflecting light, i.e. we can see it. I wanted to see if those things in particular would be changing.
So it's both gravitational and electromagnetic properties.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So adding that layer to your sensor scans brings the difficulty down. Difficulty 2 for this scan. I'm going to say for Doctor, this will be reason engineering.
Reason engineering.
This is more of a sciencing role, though. This is more of a sciencing role.
Reason
'Cause
science.
Yeah, reason science, and then the same for Ty if you're assisting.
Okay. I'm going.
I will
Go ahead.
forego my assist because I am having an entire unauthorized feeling at the moment.
Ah.
Okay.
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 I am going to see when you attempt a task using or science, you may roll one additional d20 so long as you succeeded on a previous task in the same scientific. Nope, didn't do that. But I do have a direct neural interface. Having existed as an extension of the collective, blah, blah, liberated Borg possesses a natural affinity with computers and data processing equipment of all kinds. When the character attempts a task that involves or is assisted by a computer, including the ship's computer systems, the character gains a bonus d20 to the pool.
Yeah, you're using
Sound
the
good?
ship
Yeah.
yards.
That's kind of why I closed up the tricorder. I'm like, I need something a little
Yeah.
bigger for this. And then I'm also going to use, let's see. No, I can't use that. No, I can't use that either. Oh, you know what, though? I could. Let's just roll that. I think we'll just roll. I do have a cortical. Nope, that's for a subspace transceiver. All right, never mind. Yeah, we'll just roll that. Okay. 3d20.
All right.
All right, and so what do I need? It's reason science, you said?
Reason science, and then if someone can please roll for the station, this will be computers science.
So I need a 13 or lower.
And it'll be one die
17
for the ship. I keep saying ship. The shipyard. It's the station. 17 for the shipyard.
I've rolled a bunch. If someone else wants to.
I thought you were saying that was what you rolled. That's
no, that's
target
the
number.
the ship is.
I'm
17.
here. I can roll.
Yeah, I was
Well,
like, I feel like I've got to
Yard
roll
can
so many
roll.
dice. I'm gonna give it to somebody else.
Okay.
Rion scored 2 successes.
Okay, that's what you needed. And
One from UP.
And one from UP. So bank that one from UP. Oh, UP is short for University of Puerto Rico too. So it's, whenever I hear UP, it makes me do that. My mom went there. Okay. So with this scan, and this has been now a few days of gathering science on this thing and layering that with the history of it that was scrubbed from the databanks by Ensign Qila. And now seeing this this reaction that's happening with, unfortunately, one of your crew members inside the force field right next to it and being encapsulated in it. So here's what you get back on that scan. You're seeing an intense growth that seems to be radiating some type of electromagnetic energy.
Okay.
And if I'm going to throw this in, you can spend more momentum for more info, but I will throw this in without you needing to spend momentum yet. The timing of it does seem to be when the larger pieces of meteor were hitting and potentially getting through that energy dome.
Okay, at this point, I'm sharing the data, obviously with Ty, but I'm going to immediately put the station on alert and call security.
Okay, you do that. Commander Valuth, you get that alert in your office.
Oh, no. I'm gonna head immediately over.
I love that Bonnie had to go to work right when I'm calling security. I guarantee you,
securing the facility.
I guarantee you, she is watching Twitch right now on her phone as she goes to work, and she's going, "No!" Yep, 100%. Just
Don't
like
worry,
that.
Bonnie. There will be more security problems.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, we have a
This is not
salmon arcade.
confession.
Yeah.
It's a promise.
Oh yeah. So in a few moments, Commander Valuth will arrive on the scene. But before that happens, would you like to spend momentum to find out more? on that
Yes.
scan?
Yep.
Okay. All right. First thing.
So that's 3 we've spent. Or I've spent. Yeah, I spent 1 for the tricorder, 1 for when suddenly Sam, and then the third one is for the question.
But you had gotten one above.
And you got one back.
Oh, and I got 1 above. So then
So
2
we're
have been
at
spent. So we're at.
We're
Yeah. Okay.
sitting at-
Cool. Yeah.
Sitting at 3.
So you have 3 now.
Sweet.
Okay. So yeah, we got the we're getting that electromagnetic reading for sure. Not so much. Actually, okay. I'll say this, Ty, and this is as you're also looking at the data coming back. When you were looking for gravimetric reaction, you were looking through the lens of dark matter, the way dark matter reacts. And you're still getting the sense from this data that there is a correlation of this, whatever this matter is, exists in the type of place that dark matter does, where it's hard to track and it's unknown mostly. But otherwise, it's acting differently than dark matter because
I can see it.
You can see it now. But it changed when something very fast was moving towards the thing it was in. A change happened. So it seems like you're seeing that it exists in two states.
Roberts, how do we get her? How do we get her down? Out? How do I get up? We have help.
So, I'm gonna roll for Roberts real quick. Okay. You know, I was gonna say that maybe we should just cut her out like we did before, but I'm realizing that when we cut it before, we couldn't see it. Now I'm worried that since it's all lit up and stuff, if we cut it, it's gonna be bad. I just have a really strong feeling we shouldn't cut it right now.
I think that is an excellent instinct. Let us not attempt unknown experiments with a member of our crew there.
So we could wait for it to, whatever triggered it to like make this change, and in case everything, maybe it'll calm down.
Is there an EV suit I can see from here?
Any what? Sorry.
There's an EV suit here, right?
EV suit. Oh, yeah. There's EV suits in, like, stations around
I'd like
on the
to
walls.
snag one.
Yeah, okay. You head over to a wall, start putting on an EV suit. Hold on. And Lieutenant Commander Gina gets between you and the force field. Doctor, I respect your willingness to get in there and everything, but we can't have anyone go in there right now. We don't know what we're dealing with.
That's exactly why I need to be there with her right now.
I can't authorize anyone to go in there right now. I'm sorry.
Ty Veluth.
Veluth, if you're by the security issue, I'm already on my way.
Good, but this is more urgent than that. I need permission to go and interface with that and the hull directly. There is a crew member in danger.
Is there context that you're leaving out?
Most assuredly.
At that point,
Who's
I think
the crew member in danger?
Veluth, I think now you enter, yeah.
Just walking. Who's the crew member?
Hey, boss.
I'm going to spend 2 more threat. Good. Just to solidify a thing that I think maybe some of us have been imagining. Is that now, this thing has now lifted Kaz up. Kaz, you are now, like, I'm going to draw this. I'm not a good drawer. My dad is an artist. I am not visual artist. But I'm imagining you're kind of like in a bloop of a cocoon now suspending. And that's what you're seeing, Veluth.
Yeah, she had made no attempt to stop that from happening. She was kind of like, I think she was kind of like a little bit froze up. From earlier, and then was like, oh, and it's changing, and it's changing, okay, cool, it's changing, and then just like has been like chilling.
Ty, give me 5 minutes, and then you have my permission to go in, but you will give me those 5 minutes. I can't send our best medical specialist in without trying everything under the sun first.
We could attempt to beam her directly into sickbay and possibly rely on the biofilters to remove anything that is currently entrapping her.
To be fair, she says from up to, we don't know how this thing will react with transporters. We haven't done any of those tests yet.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, Commander Valuth, is that you want to do you want to try to. You need 5 minutes to do everything, and then you're going to send Dr. Tairo.
What do you need in those 5 minutes?
I need to see if beaming out is possible. I need to see what interference is in that cocoon, and I need to know that if we do get Kaz out, that we're not bringing anything else with them.
Long look, and then they break back to Dr. Rylem and the instrumentation, thereby to hasten the gathering of all of this data as quickly as possible, so then they can get there.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Okay.
I do want to just add for flavor to this that Klingon opera she has not turned it off. So there is just like a very tiny muffled Klingon opera. So as she's lifted up, she's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? Like just with a tiny bit of exactly. It's not like blast. It is playing still.
Valuth is gonna put a hand on Ty's shoulder and go, "You have my word. I am going to do everything possible. I don't want to see anything happen to Tovaa either." And immediately make a beeline to the nearest console
Okay.
to start.
All right.
Is there anything else in the cocoon
The ship.
other than Kaz?
Or did it shrink on me?
The ship. The part of the ship that's within the force field, including the new part that they attached to the outside hull.
Has it been firmly attached?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything loose?
No, I think I said I set the all the crane stuff got put back away. She just hadn't gotten out yet. So theoretically, it's just her and maybe support beams if they're. But
well,
that's
not a loose tool, not a loose anything.
Do you want to spend a momentum and have
The
some
meteors that are coming down and possibly hitting her? No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We need 5 minutes.
Actually, that's perfect. If there is I would like to spend a momentum for a fragment of the meteor. And I am going.
Okay,
just to have it around, and I was going to use that as the test subject for teleportation. If I can lock onto that, bring it in.
There's no meteor
and we
inside
can
the force field, though.
There could be a
Just
tool,
FYI.
something maybe from Tovaa's tool belt could have come loose or something.
Then I'd like to use the momentum for the tool. I want to bring that out, have us run scans on it. If it turns out safe, then we do the same thing to Kaz.
Wait, sorry. You want to bring it out, you said?
They want to try to transport
so basically,
something loose out first.
Oh, got it. Okay, you're doing a transport test on something loose inside the force field, trying to transport out before you do it on Kaz.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Got it. Sorry.
It's not. I can't do. In his engineering mind, he's just like, I need a sample size to understand what happens next.
Yeah.
So, is there anything I need to roll or?
Yeah. So spend the momentum for that tool.
We're going to beam a sample of Kaz out.
Someone roll for UP.
Okay. And what am I rolling?
Whoever would like to roll for the station, but you also are, if you're doing this transport, Bluth, then you'll be rolling for.
Okay.
Or, well, here, I will offer you this, because you are a commanding officer here, and there are people whose jobs it is to run the tech in this space. You could command, how do we do this? Actually, because there's no PCs, our salvage PC is in a bubble right now. So I'll have you lead the role as if you are commanding, and I will assist as a salvage team member.
I was gonna say I'm willing to roll it as an engineer because he just got command, so he's just like, "Oh, I finally get to work again."
All right,
that's very good.
Then that's how we're gonna do it.
Here we go.
Love it.
Would
Okay.
you suffer me to assist, Aliza? Since I am
Yes.
very invested in this?
Yes. How are you
Thank you.
assisting?
If we are trying to transport something, I have a ton of data about the properties that can be used to tune the transporters more effectively.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I have tests and theories and practice and all of that good stuff to try to help, and also I'm very invested.
So just so I know exactly what you're doing then, Veluth, you are using the transporter then?
Yep.
Are you doing that now? Oh, okay. I understand.
I love this. Is so I have Tova's a transporters expert, and she's like, yeah, I can't. I cannot help with this. I'm just up here.
I will say, here's the thing. I'm doing some quick Googling because I'm realizing force fields should prevent transporting.
Yeah.
But I guess what we're trying to do
Unless
is
you know
get
the
around,
frequency, I think.
Yeah, if you're trying to get around that.
Or if
using
you're a
the
foolish
cycle.
GM and you tell the players that yes, you can beam through a Cardassian shields and rescue an ambassador with a really high roll,
Well, that
which
sounds
you
like a
should
thing
never
a GM did to themselves.
do.
Yeah.
You should never say yes to that.
That sounds like something they said yes to and have to live with the
Sounds
consequences
like
of
maybe
their,
a
of their
GM
actions,
played themselves.
hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically.
But what about outside the iridescent bubble, inside the force field? Transport.
Outside the iridescent bubble, inside the force field. But everything in the force field, unless you're... Oh, yeah. Well...
Right. From inside bubble to outside bubble, but still inside force field on both sides.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Okay. It's still going to be super difficult. But that actually feels now possible. Because before, honestly, the difficulty would have been like so high, it would have been not really possible. Go
Also,
ahead.
just
Sorry.
as a proposition, Tova's set up these force fields. Like, she could give frequency, like notes on like whatever to if it is a thing that you can, if you know the details of the force field, that you can tamper with them differently. Like, she could very easily just like give like the frequencies and stuff that she used. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but
it is. Here's the thing. I'm still thinking
whether or not that's up to you.
I think what you can absolutely try to do this, but I think what will happen is, this is the first time I've done this in Star Trek, you can succeed at cost. Because it feels like if you're tampering with the force field, even if you're like trying to get around the fine tuning, to me it feels like that's what's keeping this thing inside. So if you want to do something inside there, you're kind of risking this force field failing. So succeeding at cost, you're risking something could happen to the force field.
I'm so sorry to keep asking questions. It's the last one, I promise. Is all of the Ross surrounded by this cocoon?
I love that you asked that.
It's the Bovel.
The Bovel. Yeah. Ross class Bovel.
Apologies.
Just don't like picturing the Ross dissected.
Because I love that you asked that, because while this is all happening, because of the immediate thing that's happening, none of you have noticed that you've been getting alerts on all of your pads and everything this whole time, but not noticed. But now that comes to mind, Veluth, yes, wait, what? I'm getting alerts. You're getting an alert that something has changed up in orbit. The Bovel is now encased in an iridescent, rainbow-colored cocoon. And actually, that's where we're going to end.
I love Aliza's objective is clearly like, let's see if I can make a Ross class even gayer
Obviously.
than the last. I'm literally going to saturate this one in rainbows, and you can't stop me.
We must intensify the game.
And this is, of course, it is clear to me that Kaitlin is the trigger for all of this. Like, that's what happened.
It's the power of lesbianism.
Yep, we put a lesbian in the hull of the starship, and boom! Like,
Kaitlin activated the gay drive.
Let's do it.
see, in all this time, I thought I needed to be building a transport drive.
Entitine gay? Gay
Yeah.
entitina? Gay
Yeah.
entitine. Yeah. I don't know.
Putting the trans in the transport, my friend.
There it is.
Oh man.
Hell yeah.
All right. So everyone watching, thank you for joining us. We are actually going to have a different show next week because Aliza is going to be at D&D in a Castle running games across the pond. Eric is going to step in and game master for a one-shot.
I will be running Star Trek Adventures next
Have you
week.
ever done that before?
No.
I think he's only played. He's only ever been a player at the table.
Mike, we got an echo from you. I think you were unmuted.
So join us next week. I will not be here, but a lot of other folks will be here, and Eric will be back in the Game Master chair.
Everyone is making fun of me.
Don't
right
get too
now.
comfy because I'm coming back, Eric.
Everyone
okay?
is making fun of me right now. They're like, one shot, LOL.
Yeah, I know. Oh, one shot. But everyone, be well. We're ending a little bit early, but that felt like a good place to end. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.